Episode number 13 with Alex Black.
I got X-ray specs for eyes. I can see right through you.
Welcome to In It to Win It. This is Stevie B.
And Dan G.
Dan G. How's the gold and silver going?
Pretty good, my ninja. Just hanging out. That stuff. So I'm not gonna lie. Look, that stuff's pretty hard to come by right now.
It is. You had to whore me out this afternoon.
No, Steve. I had to pimp you out.
I felt like a call girl. Oh, huh. All right. Well, it is only half an hour from my house, and it's or half a mile from my house, and it's about 35 from yours. So,
Well, that's because I can't get anything by me.
yeah, it is getting tougher to get.
First world problem, Steve.
First world problems, yes. But
.com.
I wasn't interested in any gold, but you called him up, and he had a Kruger
Same
amp.
guy. Yeah,
Same guy, yeah.
Name is Steve, by the way.
His name is Steve. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's kind of strange, but
Yeah.
it's okay. You know, it's like so I called him. I'm like, "Yo, hey Steve, I'm be coming down like 1:00."
Mhm.
But I had it so afterwards. I spoke with you after I spoke with him, and then I had to call him back and tell him that there was another Steve coming to talk to Steve.
Yes.
But I had to explain this to like his assistant, whose name wasn't Steve.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as I walked in, he's like, "Oh, you're the friend of Daniel who just called." I was like, "Yes."
Yeah. You're like Steve on Steve. Pow.
Yes. Is I was telling him about the episode we did with Jordan Roy Byrne,
Mhm.
and then about this one. He's like, "Oh, cool. I look forward to it."
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Steve.
Yeah.
Yep. So Pacific Coast Coin.
Coin. I don't know.
Yes.
There was like a million like coin places. Just none of them have any gold and silver coins.
We got a shout out to Neil. And
Oh yeah, Neil. Neil does the he's doing some Airbnb stuff, wrote into the show. He's he wants to come on, talk about his what he does, how he does it. So yeah, I think he'd be a good guest.
it's kind of neat. He's automized cleaning services for Airbnb, and so he has the service go out, and you just contract through him. It's over the website, and kind of neat, kind of a neat little niche there. But
Yeah, I could possibly use him soon myself.
right, right.
Yeah. So
Any
we'll see.
updates
Yeah,
on
we'll see.
on your Bucaramanga place?
Oh, update is I'll be signing some contracts over the next week. So I'll keep everybody abreast as far as how things go, how things are done. Anybody wants to, I guess the proper verbiage for it would be arbitrage. Is kind of what we're doing. We're not really buying any of these places overseas. We're basically making contractual deals with owners for leases. And so so I'm just gonna we'll as the process moves forward, we can relay that information of how things are done if anybody's interested in doing that, and in their own city, town, home, or I don't know, maybe you decide you want to move to Bangkok and do it. I don't know, whatever
Yeah.
fits your fancy.
Yes. Oh, how's your 30-day challenge going?
Oh, the word my balls go.
Well, you're still doing the cold showers, right?
Yeah, still
Good.
doing cold showers. It's I'm a fan. And I have to say thanks to you. I'm a fan. I'm actually, it's I think we're on day 22. So yeah, but I'm gonna keep it up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I'm still doing the squats, incorporated the jumping ones.
Yeah, how's that going?
Good. The last time I did it in under a minute in the first
Oh,
15.
you're timing them now?
It's
Oh,
kind of a way
you
to
can-
add something to it.
Is that like on your Apple Watch?
No, it's on my iPhone.
Oh,
Still an Apple product,
sorry.
yes.
Oh, you haven't gone to Best Buy yet. Sorry.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And I did the first 15 jumping, and jump up, try to like bring your knees up to your chest, and then
Oh,
back
wow.
down.
You're like going the whole way. That's like serious.
Well, then the last 15 were the
Like
regular
knees to
little
the
air squat.
chest. Like, I don't know.
That's hardcore, bro.
Yeah. It's like your ex-girlfriend used to do or something. That's kind of, yeah. Okay. I got it, Steve. All right, cool.
Yeah. And what's your how about your Spanish
Well, yeah, because I had to give myself my own challenge. Thanks, Steve.
yes?
Yeah. So I just figured I want to write a paragraph in another language every day. I still haven't done it today, but it's been about a week. So yeah, no, it's going good because I noticed that I just more of the words kind of make sense, especially the bigger words. So
Okay.
yeah, I noticed like if you take a paragraph of, let's say, what I'm doing is actually something that I'm interested in. So I just figured sports. So I just took sports and I'm like, I'm going to write a paragraph every single day in another language.
Yeah.
And so I've been doing it. And
Are you copying it, or are you making it up on your own, or?
No, I'm just taking something off of a website, that I'm interested, maybe a football team, golf, tennis, whatever it is that I'm interested in. Actually, I'm not really interested in golf or tennis, by the way, but
Neither am
yeah, those are just two things I just haven't been able to get into. But for those of you who are into it, good on you. But no, so I just take, let's say, football, and I'll just write a paragraph of I don't know, just something of interest that that I see of interest, so it makes it more interesting to write, and hopefully it captures my attention. So I've been writing out a paragraph every single day. The first few days were really tough, because when people talk in another language and news and stuff, the words are a lot bigger. So it's just harder to translate. So I usually use a translator and I'll translate it, but I'll try to write it first. And whatever I mess up on, I'll just rewrite it. So it's been working out really well. I mean, I notice I learned it's kind of like that, if you ink it, you think it, kind of, I guess, thing. So it is helping. It's just another way, what works for you. And, learning a language it's really difficult. I think almost any age, like people say like, oh, it's, learning that language is easier than, I think any language is difficult.
Yeah, for me, I thought for a long time that I was a visual learner, but I've learned since then that I'm very auditory. I learned Spanish, never writing any of it down,
Mm-hmm.
and just speaking it and listening to it.
We call that learning in the streets, Steve.
Yeah, in la calle.
In the calles. Where
Me
do you
aprendí
in the
la calle.
calles, in the streets?
In la calle.
But let's just get real serious about it. The best way to learn
But
a
that
language.
is my weakness, because I'll read a newspaper article in Spanish,
And it's proper.
yeah, and it's spelled correctly, and I realized that these words that I've been visualizing in my head are nowhere near like the way it's actually spelled.
Right. No, that's very true. But it helps. It helps. I think when you're writing things out, it really helps kind of unfold a lot of things, and you kind of connect some dots, a way that certain words relate to other words.
Yeah, like cielo, sky.
Sky, right.
I remember I've read that several times, and I'm like, wow, that is not the way I'm picturing it in my head. And I couldn't tell you how I picture it in my head or how it's how it's written, but it's never the same.
Right. Yeah. No. Hey, look. Let's just bottom line. Let's just get this.
I really need to learn spelling.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. It's just learning. It's like a whole nother world, right?
Oh, it is. Yeah. I mean, I'm a great speller with English, but with
Well,
Spanish,
of
I
course.
just never bothered to learn it.
Yeah. But the best way to learn Spanish is try to get laid in another language.
That is the number one way. Yes.
That is we call that total immersion.
Total immersion. Yes.
Or
yeah.
full.
That's when you know that you can speak a language.
If you can get laid in another language,
you can speak it pretty well.
You can speak it pretty well.
Yeah.
It's a
There's
done
so many
deal.
little hurdles and things that you have to
Yeah.
get over.
It's like doggy treats.
Yeah, exactly.
and you will be rewarded, my friend.
Yes, yes, it's like possum treats. Did I talk about my possum on the show?
You know what? Just for anybody in Australia listening here, because I used to live there,
Mm-hmm.
the possums in Australia are cute, cuddly. They're very National Geographical friendly. American possums, they look like dirty, oversized rats.
Drowned rats, yeah.
Yeah, drowned, disgusting. Like there's nothing aesthetically pleasing about these animals.
Oh. I got one that walks the fence line every night, and I
No,
always
they
put out
love
a
walking
hard-boiled egg
fence
for him.
lines. Oh yeah.
I'll cut out the fat off of my steak and put it on the steak line, and he comes. I think it's a female because she looks like she's pregnant, so I might have a little baby.
Well, they're usually carrying like 6 babies on. They're just gross looking.
I think they're cute. I think they're cute.
You're one out of 1,000 that thinks that, but we'll let you have that.
Let me have that one.
Yeah, I'll let you have that one. Take that one home and write about it. You're good.
Oh, that's great. Right on. Well, should we bring in Alex Black?
Oh my, Alex is. Let's just let everybody know he's on a different time zone, so he might be. This is towards the end of his day,
Yes.
and it's Friday, so he might be ready to party and go to the strip club, or who knows what he's got going on.
Right on. Okay, we'll take a quick break, and Alex Black.
I got supersonic speed that I used to run to you. I stretch my arms for miles and miles.
Oh, Alex, I was just asking. I didn't want to insult you in any way because I actually used to live in Australia, and you sounded like an Aussie to me. But it's been many years, so I didn't know.
Aussie.
Oh, you are.
Aussie,
I
Aussie.
told you. Oh, dude, fair dinkum, mate.
I'm not Kiwi. I'm not Kiwi.
Okay. Well, they got more sheep than people, so we all know that.
Where did you live in Australia?
Alex, I lived actually in Melbourne.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
how long for?
About 4.5 years.
So what's your footy team?
Oh man, the Magpies.
Oh shit! Unbelievable, because I'm a diehard Collingwood supporter. Yeah.
Oh, Collingwood. Yeah, no, I got into the footy. I got into I was all about it. The cricket was a little tough. I just would find myself.
Nah, it's boring.
I would just find myself drinking all day. But I drove the Nola Bull. I actually used to work in Perth, which is a lot of mining and stuff, of course, there. And I've been Darwin. I even lived with the
Been to Kalgoorlie? Did you drive through Kalgoorlie?
I up through Broome. I went from Perth to Broome and all the way across to Darwin.
Oh wow, fantastic.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I think that was the scariest time of my life. I got stuck in a storm in a car, and all kinds of crazy stuff, man. Ate some camel meat, and yeah, man, it was crazy. Yeah, I bet honestly one of the best times in my entire life, and like piece of my heart is stuck in Oz. So,
Yeah, no, it's a great place. And,
oh man, fantastic.
I haven't been there. Well, I haven't lived there for 20 years. So,
oh really? Oh wow. Okay, so we're kind of in the same boat then.
Yeah, no, I'd like to. I mean, I'm sort of. I enjoy living here in Peru.
Yeah,
it's been good to me, and
yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever go back from a living perspective, but I visit obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. Where were you originally from, though, Alex? Are you from?
I was born in Adelaide, and then
I used to work there. I used to work there as well.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I was born in Adelaide, and then at 23 years old, I moved to Kalgoorlie, which is in the middle of Western Australia.
Wow.
And that's a gold mining town. So I started in the gold business back in 1981.
Interesting.
And then I moved to Perth. Lived in Perth. I lived in Kalgoorlie for 7 years. Then I lived in Perth for 13 years, and then left Perth and came to Peru, and here I am.
Oh wow! See, I told you, Steve. I told you he was Aussie. I told you he was probably from the Western Australia. I told Steve all this, and he's like, "Well, I don't
You were
know."
spot on.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, mate. Oh my god, that's it's amazing.
That's cool.
That's good.
That's cool.
That's
Okay.
good. Oh, so you didn't know I was Aussie?
No, well, Steve definitely didn't know, but I had a pretty good hunch because I listened to your interviews and everything beforehand
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
YouTube and stuff. So I just wanted to get a sense of you and everything. And then, so I was like, yeah, because it's just, I still have a little, because it's been so many years. So sometimes I get a little mixed up on the distinction of, you know, the English accent and then the Aussie.
Yeah, no, a lot of people, because, you know, some Aussies have very strong accents.
Right.
I think mine's probably not as strong because I do get English from time to time. Oh, you're from England.
Yeah.
And I go, no, I'm not.
Yeah, no, but you can tell a little bit, like, now that I talk to you, I guess. But yeah, you can, you know, what do they call it? The Aussie twang?
Yeah. No, there's some really strong accents.
The Yabos have them. The Yabos have the strong ones.
Yabos, yeah, the Yabos. Collingwood supporters.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, we just wanted to, you know, just want to make everything candid. Don't hold back. Like, you know, we want to make it funny, but you know, and we want people to, you know about your company, you know, foremostly, and obviously how to invest Exactly.
Yeah,
no,
we're hoping to just
I like. Look, I'm not I'm not straight down the line. So, you know, I mean, well, I am, but I'm just, from the point of view, you know, I don't have to have a straight interview. It can be fun. It can be whatever you want it to be.
Okay.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty open, and
we just want to be candid and funny.
Yeah, and I've traveled the world in the business, so I've seen a lot of things. And
that's awesome.
I'm pretty active on Twitter. I don't know if you've been following me on Twitter, but I'm active on Twitter there.
What's your Twitter handle?
Let's get your Twitter handle, so we can give that to people, and then obviously for ourselves as well.
Just hang on. I got to remember it now.
That's okay.
We'll put a link in the show notes.
I'm under Alex Black. I mean, I don't hide myself, but I'm at Black Alex 58.
There you go. Right on. Yeah, we're hoping to just get, you know, like your personal background and how you got into gold, and then kind of your thoughts on what the future of the gold market's going to look like, you know, here and just gold in general. You've probably forgotten more about gold than we know. And then after that, we want to hear all about, you know, your gold project, and, you know, just kind of dig into that.
Yeah, and how people... Yeah, and how people can invest. How can people invest in your company, and how to get started, and just kind of the basics. Because we have a lot of listeners who are just getting into gold, and they just want to know like how it works, and how they can get in, and whatever we can do to help them, basically.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thanks, guys.
What so you said you said it was Perth for your first gold mining? When did you get into
I went to Kalgoorlie. Kalgoorlie was then about a town of about 25,000 people.
Okay.
And about 600-kilometer drive from Perth, and in the center of Western Australia. And it's a famous gold mining town. I mean, it's one of the biggest gold mining towns in the world. So that's where I went to, and then
what would you do?
I'm a mining engineer by background, so I worked in my first place I worked at was an underground mine, which is now a big pit. They've actually opened up the Kalgoorlie Golden Mile, as they called it, and they've turned it into a large open pit. But before that, it was several underground mines, and I worked at one of those mines. And then I got into technical computing, of all things, because back in the 80s, when I was in Kalgoorlie, it was really interesting that technical computing, like being able to do mine planning and geological modeling and all that sort of thing on computers was all the big company stuff, but small companies couldn't do it. So
it had to be revolutionary.
Yeah.
It was a turning point, because it was the time the PC came out. So it was early 80s.
Wow.
And at the time the PC came out, and the first computer I worked on was from a PC perspective, had a 10 megabyte hard drive on it was.
Was this like a Commodore?
No, it was a Rainbow 100 actually. It was
I think even before that.
it was before Commodores. It was before Commodores.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I'm 63 years old, so you can tell, 81 was. So anyway, it was interesting because software on those types of computers was limited, and then I caught up with a group out of Perth called Serpac who were designing mining software, and I latched onto it, and I was one of the first, and then people were saying, oh well, we don't have the software, but could you do the work for me? And then I set up a little business that became a bigger business, which became a mine consulting business where we did mine planning and other things using software, and also teaching people how to do it themselves. And so, it was at a turning point because all that stuff today is second nature, and there's lots of products out there. It's,
that was like right in the beginning of
right at the beginning.
Yeah. It's funny, just Alex, I was actually in, when I moved to Australia, the reason why I moved is just, side note, but I was actually there for computer work. So it was kind of interesting.
And the thing about Australians, particularly in the mining industry, is we like to latch on to new technology. We're not afraid to get into new technology. So it was a good opportunity for me to latch on to early new technology. But you'll see Australians even today, try and find new ways of doing things, and a lot of autonomous mining has been developed in Australia, particularly open pit wise, where you've got these big giant haul trucks with no drivers, and there's some guy sitting in a.
It's like Elon Musk controlling this stuff.
Yeah. I don't know about Elon Musk, but it's just interesting, because when you're out, and as you know, some of the biggest iron ore mines exist in Australia, in North and Western Australia, and so health and safety is a big part of it. And if you can put a truck in the hands of nobody, I mean, almost a robot, that's the way to go, because it's a safe way of operating. And so Australia is just a great place from a technological point of view.
Wow, never thought. That's really cool.
Yeah, interesting. So,
very interesting.
So you were there in Australia, and then you came to Peru 20 years ago, right? So would you mine for almost 20 years in Australia, and then now you've been mining almost 20 years in South America?
Yeah, in Australia, I didn't run any mining companies. As I said, I started in the industry in Kalgoorlie, worked underground. Then I went to, I then went into my consulting business, revolving around mine planning and that sort of thing. Then I went to Perth and I did the same thing. And then, one of the things that happened was that during that time, I was doing a lot of consulting work for people that are doing what I'm doing today. Mm. And I used to look at these people, and they became very wealthy over time. Some of them because they had great projects, and they brought them into production, gold mines into production, and became very wealthy. And I looked at those people and thought, well,
there's something there.
They're nobody special, really.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't want to take anything away from the people I knew back then.
Of course.
But I thought, well, I could do this. Yeah. And then in late 1990s, 99 or whatever, I decided, my first marriage blew up, so that helped me
focus.
Sort of focus myself. It also gave me a reason to say, you know what, I'm going to go and do something completely different. And the only continent I hadn't been to was South America.
Wow! Cool.
And I knew it was a mining destination. And then I did some research and thought, well, where am I going to go in South America? And then looked around and did some research, and I eventually settled on Peru. There were small scale mines, medium scale mines, large scale mines, not a lot of exploration going on in the country at the time. And I thought, well, that's where I want to go. And so I packed up and left everything behind and came here to start afresh, but to start on the other side of the fence, which is on the mining side rather than on the consulting side.
Yeah, right. Wow.
And so I got here, and
so do you move by yourself? You just went like alone, like
Just came with a suitcase. That's it. Nothing
Oh,
else.
that's exactly how I went to Australia with
that
two
takes some
suitcases and a
cojones,
surfboard.
sir. I
Yeah,
admire it.
that's cojones, definitely. Wow.
Well, yeah, I was, sort of, it was maybe, I was 40 odd at the time, 42 or 41, 42. And maybe I was having a midlife crisis, but yeah, my cojones were pretty big at the time. So let's
No,
go.
man, but that it takes but I don't think a lot of people realize, like, it takes a lot, when you're an adult and you're like, I'm just gonna move and I'm just gonna do this,
Yeah.
and you actually do it, like, because
Yeah.
9 out of 10 people can't, or just they won't.
Well, the other thing too is, the other thing in my favor was I didn't have any kids at the time, so I wasn't leaving anything behind apart from my ex-wife, who I.
We were happy to get away from.
No. Actually, we broke up amicably, and I actually came over, and I didn't have any money because I gave her everything. I said, "You can have everything. You can have the house. You can have everything
Wow.
that we had." But I said, I might need some money, so can you lend me some money? And anyway, she did, and I paid her back. But I came with nothing really.
Wow.
And
That is amicable. That's an amicable thing. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
Just-
Yeah.
just an
It
idea.
doesn't happen every day, but it happens.
I'm not an everyday person. I'm a different
Yeah,
type
well,
of guy.
she obviously wasn't American.
No. She became a shareholder of a couple of the companies that I was involved with, so she did pretty well.
Wow,
Nice,
that's cool.
nice.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So when you came over to Peru,
Peru,
is that when you started working for Rio Alto? Is that
No. When I came to Peru, my idea was to start something new.
okay?
And I had a buddy of mine back in Perth, and he was a corporate advisory guy. And I said, look, I'm going to go to Peru. I'm going to find some projects, and you're going to find me a company that I can put those projects into, like a listed company.
Oh, so this is like junior, like you were like
Yep.
like junior mining company, and then you want to get kind of bought by the bigger guy, kind of thing. So just so everybody
or
understands.
develop something yourself, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Right.
So I spent a year looking around, and I come up with a couple of things, but they were mainly exploration. I'm not a geologist, right? So, but they were enough to put into a company. I rang up my buddy and I said, okay, I've got some projects now. What's the company you've got for me? And he said, well, I found a company. It's controlled by an Aussie guy here that I know very well, but it's Canadian listed. It's a Canadian listed shell. And I said, well, I guess that's the best you can do. That's the best you can do. So basically, I took over a Canadian listed shell, and I was an Australian living in Peru. I had no exposure to Canada at all. And so had to try and get this sort of thing sorted out and get it together. But anyway, had a listed company. I had contacts in Australia, raised some money. I think we raised about $1.5 million back then. This is in 2001 or 2002. And that company's name was Chariot Resources, like Ben-Hur, the chariot.
No.
He rode around. So Chariot Resources was the company I took over. And in 2004, we potted around for a while. And then in 2004, we actually acquired a copper project from Rio Tinto.
Oh,
and that was called Mar Cobre. And it was a relatively good copper project down south of Lima, a few hours drive south of Lima. But it was a bit big for us. And we did a feasibility study on it. And eventually I ended up moving to Canada for 1.5 years because I started in 2005 because I wanted to make a network of people in the mining business that I didn't know because I wasn't, I never started in the Canadian mining industry.
Did you, by chance, did you ever like visit Canada before that, or was this your first time?
I visited Canada before that, but in 2005, I decided to go and live there. And I went there for about 1.5 years.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Created
and
a
with
network.
created a network. And then I went with my now wife, who is Peruvian, and her 2 kids. And so we went to Toronto, lived there for a while. um, we knew that Chariot was eventually going to be sold. So I decided to bail out of Chariot. I left the company and I came to Peru. Chariot went on to sell itself to a Chinese group who then on-sold the asset to a Peruvian group, and there's a $1.5 billion copper mine being built on that project today.
Wow.
Wow.
So it makes me feel good because we recognize the potential of the project.
Yeah.
And even though we couldn't deliver on it and it was sold, it's being built today. So that's kind of good. So when I came back to Peru in 2007, I started a new company and I thought, what am I going to call it? And I came up with the name Rio Alto. And so I started from scratch. So I've never worked for anybody here in Peru.
I misunderstood. You started Rio Alto.
I was a founder, and basically I was the founder.
Wow.
Basically, I was the
Interesting.
founder of Chariot as well, because Chariot was a listed
Yeah.
show. It didn't have.
Yeah, at the time.
But I've never worked for anybody here in Peru. I didn't come to work for some big company or whatever. I've done this all off my back.
Wow.
So started
Wow.
Rio Alto
Well done,
as a
sir.
private.
That's just,
Yeah, no,
I
I
think
just gotta
we're
say,
just a little starstruck right now. Don't
yeah,
mind
yeah.
us.
No, I'm like, we thought you was vested, but I'm like, he's really vested.
Yeah,
He's not in. He's all in.
Just,
You know?
just because I'm an Aussie doesn't mean I can be entrepreneurial, right?
Yeah. I'm like, this guy's dynamite in his backpack. This guy's going all in. He's doing the whole thing, man. No, I'm
We're not just beer swilling guys,
Yeah.
We're like, right?
you're not just drinking emu bitter.
No, not at all. And that's terrible stuff, I tell you.
It's like the
Vegemite.
Budweiser of America. It's just so everybody
Exactly,
knows.
exactly.
Gotta have that Vegemite.
So anyway, I started Rio Alto back in 2007, 8 as a private company,
Mhm.
and came across this project called La Reina, which at that time belonged to a company called Iron Gold, who's a large, still in business, a large Canadian company. And I asked them what they were doing with this asset, and they said, well, we just bought the asset because we took over another company called Cambio back in the day. And it's not a core asset, so we may be looking at selling it. And I said, would you like to sell it to me? And they said, well, you know what, we can't really sell it to you because we're a big company. We're going to have to run a process, which means they have to run a sale process, which I don't like to get involved in because they just become competitive and difficult and take their time. So I said to the guys, well, I'm ready to go now. You don't have to run the sale process, but they wanted to run the sale process, and it took about a year. This was in early 2007. And by the end of 2007, the process was over and we were picked. They said, you're it.
Nice.
We came up with an offer to buy the asset for $47 million back then. This is 2007, so just
That's quite a bit of money in 2007. I mean, it's more than
just
it is
remember
today.
this date because it was just before
the crash.
the crash.
Mhm.
Right?
That's what I was gonna ask something, but I would figure I'd let it unfold.
which was the thing that really pissed me off because I offered to buy the asset in early 2007, which we could have raised the money in 2007 and taken the project from them. But instead, they decided in December of 2007. So we went marketing and we were going to take our company public, Rio Alto, in 2008. We were marketing. We were actually marketing on the road, and who was it? It was Bear Stearns or whoever it was. Just
Bear
disappeared.
Stearns, yeah, that's right. Yeah, they
Disappeared. So
overnight.
That was the start of the financial crisis.
Yeah.
And when we were meeting accounts, that could potentially invest in us, the day that was all happening was like, I've just lost 30% of the value of my fund. There's no way I can give you any money. So we went marketing and we came up with nothing.
Yeah.
Couldn't come up with a cent. And 47 for that asset wasn't difficult to raise at the time.
Yeah.
In a good market. So
It's
we
like-
went back to Iron Gold, the seller, and said to him, you know what, we can't buy this from you because nobody's going to give us any money, but we could restructure the deal and if you give us the opportunity to spend money on the project, we can pay you later.
Mm.
And so here we were in the black hole of the financial crisis,
Yeah.
and we restructured the deal. However, they said to us, that works, and we will do that with you because we like you guys, but you have to give us $1 million, sort of like an upfront fee, a good
payment.
faith.
Yeah, down
First
yeah.
month's rent.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So this is in late 2008, in the
Wow.
middle of the financial crisis,
Wow.
and we were looking for $1 million. You think I could
Yeah.
find $1 million?
No.
Nope.
Yeah, you
Nope.
might as well ask your Yabo friends.
Exactly. And not even my Yabo friends would give me any money.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I know.
We were on our hands and knees trying to find money. I mean, we would have almost given the project away, for $1 million back then.
Wow.
But we just couldn't get the money. And then in 2000, and then Iron Gold, who were selling it to us, kept asking us, "How are you going? How are you going? How are you going?" And we kept saying, "Don't worry, don't worry, don't
You're
worry."
like,
with the money.
everything's amazing.
Yeah.
We went into 2009, the early part of 2009, and they really started to get itchy. And they just, we basically got an ultimatum: look, if you don't come up with that money like right now, we're going to take the project away. We're going to take it back.
Yeah.
Oh,
And we
wow.
thought, shit, what are we going to do? And just at that time, we came across a
Were you going to church at all during that time? We call that living on hope.
in church and sitting on the toilet a lot. But,
Burning cigars and dead chickens.
to tell you the truth, I was shitting myself because, at the end of the day, I don't know whether, didn't know where the money was going to come from. So anyway, very quickly, we found a listed shell, and it was called Mexican Silver Mines, and it had $6 million cash in it, but no assets. And we talked to them, and they said, "Oh yeah, we understand what you're trying to do." So we put the two companies, because Rio Alto was private then, we put the two companies together, and we renamed the listed company to Rio Alto Mining. And we started off with a $12 million valuation. It was because it was a 50-50 deal. They had the $6 million. We had, we got it in shares, and off we went. So from that time, we just ran as fast as we could to get our project, which was called La Arena, into production.
Yeah.
Right. And nobody believed us in Canada that we could do this. And when we talked to people in Canada about raising more money so we can invest in the project and take it to production, nobody would give us any money. So we raised all our money, and it was not a lot of money, but it was about $20 million in total in Peru and Chile from retail investors down here.
Wow. That's not
and
easy.
A few small funds. It wasn't easy, but because I was living here, and by that time, I had a bit of a, I could get around and I could meet people, and we latched onto a broker here that took us around. So it wasn't bad, but we were raising money. And back in those days, when we started with Mexican Silver, the share price was about 20 cents. When we raised money here in Peru, it was different prices, but it was anywhere between 20 and 70 cents. Mm-hmm. And so this was in 2009, 2010. And anyway, we got the project going. We got the project advanced to the point, and remember, we owed Iron Gold $47 million.
Yeah.
Only
47.
So we got going, and we got the project advanced, and we actually took down a gold loan for it ended up being $50 million, which we invested in building the project. And at that time, and this was in 2010, an analyst from a Canadian broking group, brokers, bankers, came to Peru and said, "Oh, I'm going to another project, but it's near La Arena. Can we come and have a look at what you're doing at La Arena?" I said, "Yeah, sure."
Hey, why not?
So he came to La Arena, and he went on a tour, and we were building it at that time using the money that we'd raised here in Peru, using the money that we borrowed. And every second word coming out of his mouth as he was walking around the project started with the letter F, and he just couldn't believe what he was seeing. He said, "You actually have done this." And I said, "Yeah, I've been telling you for the last 18 months of mine."
Nobody believes me.
No, nobody believed. That's exactly as you said it, and nobody believed us. And then he said, "Well, this is really good. You know, you guys are really hitting the mark." And I said, "Yeah, we told you we would." And you know, we ran really fast, put together a good Peruvian management team, et cetera, et cetera. And then he went back to Toronto. He was from Toronto, and this was just before Christmas of 2010. And he came back, or the company came back and offered us a $50 million bought deal financing.
Wow.
To pay off Iron Gold.
Yeah, 47, right? So you get a 3 mil plus.
Yeah.
Is that right?
So
yeah.
we raised 50 million. That was our one and only Canadian financing. So we used that money, and we didn't need it to put into the project because we already had money from Peruvian investors and the money we borrowed. And as you can imagine, during the same time, after the financial crisis, the gold price took off, similar to what it's doing now.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So remember what I told you when we did this deal with Mexican Silver Mines at 20 cents back in 2009. We built the mine, brought it into production. We raised a total in equity of only $80 million, and we grew the share price from 20 cents to $6.
Wow. Wow.
And let me tell you, I mean, it was such a buzz to do it, and obviously we were riding the gold price as well.
Of course, yeah, because it was bulling at that time
Yeah, after economic uncertainty, gold usually does quite well.
Exactly. And you know, the interesting thing was for me, it was such a buzz because I made so many people, like people in, you know, normal people in Lima, so much bloody money that everywhere I was going, you know, when I'd go out or, you know, people would come to me and say, "Oh, Alex, you know, I invested in Rio Alto and I just bought an apartment."
Oh man, how good is that though? You just contributed to society, Alex.
Oh man,
I mean,
is
that's
No,
awesome.
and you know, it was kind of neat because, you know, yeah, I could have raised the money. We couldn't raise the money in Canada, but if you raise the money in Canada, you never meet any of the small shareholders. The fact that it happened in Lima,
They certainly don't buy you a beer. Jeez.
Yeah. They're like, "Hey, let me buy you a drink at the bar."
So we made a lot of people a lot of money, and that was 2012 that the share price hit $6. And then obviously the gold price started to come down from 2012. It started to come back down again from its nearly $1,900 gold price. And as it was coming down, we were producing gold. We were producing from that one mine. We were producing 220,000 ounces a year.
Wow.
At cash costs of about $800. So you know, we were coining it. We were printing money. And then we acquired another asset in Peru that was in a junior company called Shawindo, and that had that was about 30 kilometers from the mine that we initially built.
That was gold as well?
Gold as well, and very similar characteristics, open pit. And we started to put that into development. And then in 2015, and gold price was still going down, but our share price was going up because on that acquisition, everybody went, "Wow, this is really good. You're going to do this again."
Right.
We built the company value up. And remember, we started at $12 million back in 2009. We built the company's value up to $1.2 billion, and we sold it.
Wow.
That's fucking awesome.
We sold it to a company called Tahoe Resources, and that was in 2015. So obviously, we made a lot of Canadians, a lot of Peruvians, a lot of people, a lot of money, and we delivered and executed as we said we would do.
That's awesome.
But I thought I was going to stay with that Tahoe Resources, the company that bought us, but
sound like it.
that wasn't their idea. They didn't want to know about us. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to go and do this again, because I hadn't finished, and so that's why the company that we have now is called Rio 2, because we had Rio Alto and now we've got Rio 2.
Ah, okay,
Dos
yeah.
veces.
Dos veces, yes, dos veces,
Dos
señor.
veces.
Hey,
Dos cervezas, por
dos,
favor.
dos cervezas, por favor.
Y
Alex,
dos veces.
but
Y-
before we go any further, Alex, I just want to know, how is your Spanish?
Yeah, it's okay. I never learnt it. I picked it up.
Okay,
So
good. You're like us then. Okay, just
Yeah.
want to make sure.
my
learned
grammar's
learned it in the street.
yeah,
Yeah.
my grammar could be better, but anyway.
Well, I took a challenge. I write a paragraph a day, and so there you go. Steve challenge.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, a quick question. When you
Yeah.
sold off Rio Alto, what happened? Everyone that had shares, does it get transferred over to the new company, or they get paid out?
Yeah,
Or
what we did was we did a share transaction with Tahoe
Okay.
Resources. So
Ah.
it was a share transaction of equivalent of 1.2 billion bucks.
Okay.
And then now they're invested in this new company.
Well, they shareholders at that time, and I was one of them, could have stayed either with Tahoe or sold their shares. Tahoe doesn't exist anymore because unfortunately it went backwards. Not on these assets in Peru. These assets in Peru are still producing, but it was invested in also in an asset in Guatemala, and they also bought some assets in Ontario in Canada, and they weren't doing too well. So the company wasn't gaining any traction. It was bought out by a company called Pan American Silver. And Pan American Silver took on Tahoe Resources and is operating the two mines that we started here in Peru under their company. So if you had held on all the way through, you would be now a Pan American Silver shareholder.
Okay.
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 And are all of those still producing, or are they?
Yeah, everything, the good thing I can say to people who are listening is that everything I've been involved in is still existing. Like the copper mine that I found in Chariot is being built now, is coming into production. The two gold mines we built in Peru are still in production. So nothing that we've been involved in has failed. But anyway, so in 2015, 16, I decided I was going to go and do it again. And I formed Rio 2 as a private company and took it public.
Rio2.com?
Rio2.com.
Right.
So now, and it's called Rio 2 Limited. It's got no reference to gold, resources, silver, or anything. I decided I didn't want to be tied to any commodity or precious metal. And so it's just very simply Rio 2 Limited.
Interesting.
And
you're not pigeonholing yourself.
no, I mean, and so many companies these days, I mean, changing their names to, Rio 2 Silver, because silver has taken off and they've got a silver project. And then in 2 years' time, they'll change their name to Rio 2 Cobalt because cobalt's taken off and they've got a cobalt project.
You're all Rio Palladium, Rio Tin, Rio
I hate
Tin.
that. I hate that. I hate that. Like, I just hate that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we got off the ground, but we didn't have an asset. So we had a listed company without an asset. Rio 2 is also listed in the US on the OTCQX. And our ticker there is Rio, RIOFF.
Okay, yeah,
So if any,
let's get that. I just want to make sure
that was one of my questions. So if
Yeah, we
you're
gotta
in the
get that
US, that's the one.
Yeah, we're listed in Canada under the ticker Rio, RIO. But in the US, we're listed on the OTCQX under the ticker RIOFF.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then what about we have actually a lot of Australian
Aussie,
listeners as
UK,
well. UK as
No,
well.
unfortunately, no. It's not worth us listing in those sorts of jurisdictions. We are listed on the Lima Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol RIO. So if there's any Peruvian listeners, they will know about us.
But there are some listeners in like I don't know positively, Steve, but there are listeners in UK and Australia who do still invest in the stock market.
Our biggest listener base is the US, and then after that, the other 15% make up Australia, UK, and Canada.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm pretty active on Twitter. I've met lots of people from all over the world, and they can buy this share. I mean, with computer technology these days, you don't have to be in Canada to own a Canadian share.
Right. Yeah.
The only issue is you can't trade it as quickly as you can trade it if you're in the jurisdiction.
Okay.
But if you're an investor, which means you're going to hold your shares for a little, for a reasonable length of time, then it's not, it's easier to do.
Yeah. No, I just want to make sure people can, they know exactly what it is, because there's times when you go into your account and you type something in and it's it looks like it is, but it might not be that.
Come on.
Yeah.
I was able to get it on Vanguard, no problem. So
yeah.
There you go.
Perfect.
So your project now, Rio 2, it's in Chile, but you're living in Lima. Are you flying back and forth? What's the process from here?
Well, what happened was that when we sold Rio Alto, I left, but basically not for any negative reason, but my management team was shown the door. My management team in Peru.
Oh.
So I've re-employed those people in Rio 2.
Oh, cool.
And so
very cool.
I've got a mining team that's built 2 mines in Peru that's going to build a 3rd mine in Chile now.
Oh,
And
perfect.
there's nothing better than having a technical base here in Peru, because the Peru mining industry is fantastic. There's a lot of good skills here, a lot of good people here. Obviously, Peru and Chile, it's the same language, it's Spanish.
Yeah.
So to be based here from a technical perspective is good. And me being the CEO and being able to walk into the office and work with my technical team, I mean, I'm not pulling the levers, right? I'm giving the corporate direction. I'm mainly involved in strategy, but my technical team is doing a great job. Now, what they've had to do is they've had to find good people in Chile, because obviously we're based here in Peru, but we're not going to be traveling all the time to Chile. And we want to build this project with Chileans, right?
Yeah.
So we're slowly building up a team in Chile. I think we've got about 18 people in the office here, 18, and in Chile we've got, I think, close to 30 people, right?
Okay.
So we're not going to grow any more here in Peru, but we're going to grow in Chile under the leadership of the technical team here in Peru.
Got it.
Huh.
Okay.
Interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we found we didn't have a project in the private in the listed Rio 2 for about a year, until we came across a company called Atacama Pacific. And Atacama Pacific was a listed company, and it was run by a couple of geos, and they discovered a project in Chile called Cerro Maracunga back in 2010.
Okay.
And when we looked at it, we thought, this looks pretty similar to La Reina and Shahuindo that we did here in Peru, from a technical perspective.
Yeah.
And except it was huge. They discovered 5 million.
Well, that's a
ounces
high quality
of gold.
problem.
Yeah.
I mean, the project was 5 million ounces of gold. I mean, La Reina's 2.5 million ounces. Shahuindo's about 2.5 million ounces. But to have one project with 5 million ounces of gold already drilled out,
Wow.
it was pretty incredible.
Wow.
So we were attracted to it, and we ended up doing a deal, and we acquired Atacama Pacific and their asset. So we merged the 2 companies. Their shareholders got our shares, and we took on the management. And because they were geologists, they really didn't know what to do with it next. They discovered it. They did a great job. But they
Good job, guys. Thanks for telling us where it is.
And that's how it works in this business. I mean, there are guys that find projects, and there's guys that build projects, right?
Yeah.
So
Thanks for the find.
So they knew our track record, and they handed over the keys to us. And in fact, one of the key principals is now on our board, Albrecht Schneider. So they're participating in the future of the project too. So we're running as fast as we can to building that project out, and that's what we're doing now in Chile. And we're in the financing stage right now, which means we're looking at how we're going to finance the construction phase of the project. It's $120 million to build the project and all the associated infrastructure. And we're in the financing stage, and we are having good reception to that. We should be announcing our financing route in the not too distant future. and we should be pouring our first bar of gold by the end of next year.
Oh, that's exciting, man.
That is
That's
cool.
exciting. That's so and also too, I just wanted to so this was this project, I mean, Steve, maybe back me up on this a little bit. This was one of the largest gold finds.
Number 8
Number
in
8
the world in the last
in
decade. Is that
10
right?
Yeah, is that right?
Yes, yes. So if you, there's a group called S&P. What is it? S&P. I can't remember. But anyway, they're a technical group, a mining group that people subscribe to, and they have all these statistics. And in the last 10 years, and when I say the last 10 years, from 2010 to 2020, it rated as the 8th largest gold project discovered during that period in the world.
Wow, that's
cool.
impressive.
So, and it's a very, very interesting project because it's so nice and simple and easy from a technical perspective.
And and also, Alex, from a technical perspective, do you mean, as far as, the process in mining the gold
The
as well?
logistics, the strategy. Is that what you're saying?
Well, let me just.
You're driving the
Give you
bus,
good-
Alex. We're looking the stickers and the windows in
The
the back.
windows in the
so.
back,
No, and it's interesting. It's an interesting game, this mining business, particularly the gold business, right? In gold, you can have two types of deposits. You can have a large low-grade deposit, or you can have a small high-grade deposit.
Okay.
Usually, small high-grade deposits occur in vein systems and underground, underground development and all that sort of thing. And the big, large-scale, low-grade deposits happen or can be exploited by open pit mining. So the two projects we built in Peru were both low-grade. When I say low-grade, 0.5 gram on average.
Half a gram average per ton, correct?
Per ton, right? Yeah.
A ton.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Per ton
many
of dirt.
tons, right? Open pittable, so you can just dig it with excavators and load it onto haul trucks.
Just so
So-
everybody knows, these aren't shovels and picks, right?
Not shovels and picks. No. These are shovels with 80-ton buckets, right? So a little bit different. But anyway, so when you look at what we have, and we renamed the project from Serra Maracunga to the Phoenix Gold Project. And the reason for that is we're in the Maracunga Gold Belt, and there's lots of Maracunga names being used in that belt. So we decided, let's go for something completely different.
Yeah.
And one of the ore zones was named Phoenix, so we decided to call the whole project Phoenix. Anyway, so we've got an average grade for 5 million ounces of 0.5 gram. All that stuff is sitting near the surface. All the gold is sitting near the surface. It's open pittable. The strip ratio, which is the ratio between the amount of mineralized material you have and waste material that you have within a pit, is only 0.8, right?
Okay.
That's not very common. That's very low. And it means that it becomes very economic for us to mine that low-grade material.
It means that you're obviously the amount of money that it takes to mine that it's a lot less than most, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you're getting a higher return.
Yeah, higher. Basically, you're getting a higher return per your ton of dirt.
Yeah.
That's right. And the thing after that, the thing that's also very important is how do you extract the gold out of the rock? And that's called metallurgy. And in our case, as was the case with La Arena and Shahuindo in Peru, we're going to leach the material on a leach pad, right? So we're not going to have to pulverize the material and produce a concentrate or anything like that. We just actually put the material on a leach pad, which is really just a plastic pad that we build up over time to maybe 80 to 100 meters high. And we irrigate that with cyanide.
Okay.
So that is not heap leaching process, or
That's heap leaching process. That's
it is the
Gold
heap leaching.
oxide heap leaching?
oxide heap leaching. Yes.
Oxide heap
Oh,
leaching.
okay.
Okay.
Which is a lot more cost efficient to do it that way.
Yes,
as
it's a
well.
low cost method of extracting gold.
Okay.
Now, when you do oxide heap leaching of low grade material, you want to make sure that you recover a high amount of the gold, right?
Yes.
In our case, we're going to recover 75% plus of the gold through that method of leaching, right?
Okay.
That is good.
Yeah.
If the recovery was 50%, it's not very good.
Mm.
It probably wouldn't be economic. But at 75+%, it's very good. And the
Mm.
other thing we're likely to do is to do run of mine, which means you don't have to crush the material. So
Mm.
when you mine it, first you drill and blast it.
Mm.
And in mining today, you can optimally design your blast patterns so that the fragment size and the fracturing of the rock, when you blow it up, breaks it up small enough that you don't have to make it any smaller.
So you
Ah.
can actually, so basically, so Alex, just so people can understand, you can actually control the amount of, how fractional it's going to be. I mean, obviously, within, inches or, centimeters, but I mean, there's a percentage there, obviously. So, I mean, the breakdown basically of the rock.
Yeah, no,
You can control that to a point. You can control that, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, you save yourself a big old machinery that's going to break down often because
Right.
it's crushing rock.
Because that's a whole nother process to break it
Exactly.
down, right?
Steve and Daniel, you are spot on right
Well,
there.
we do try to do our research.
We just got a new sticker on our helmet, Daniel.
Yeah, we just got a new and you know what? And I just want you to know, Alex, I'm licking Steve's sticker.
Oh God.
I know it's not a good visual, but it's true.
I'm glad we can't see each other. I'm glad this is just voice.
It's just audio. Okay, you mentioned that you're sitting on a pile of 5 million ounces.
Yep.
So there's you got 5 million measured and indicated, 1.8 million ounces proven and probable, and 1.4 million ounces inferred. Can you kind of describe those three terms
Okay.
and what does that mean?
So when you go and drill a deposit, you drill it enough so you can put together a resource estimate.
Yeah.
And when you do a resource estimate, there are rules as to how you can classify those resources. And the key classifications are measured, indicated, and inferred.
Okay.
Measured means you have a high level of confidence in the material being as it is by the drilling. Indicated means, you've got a pretty good level of confidence. And inferred usually says you got to drill some more, right?
Okay.
And so to move to proven and probable, you can only use measured and indicated material, right?
What's that
So
mean?
now when you move to proven probable, what that means is that you've applied economics to the resource model, and there's software where you can run algorithms within software with the resource model in a computer, and it'll tell you what sort of shape open pit will fit around that model, right? And all the material that falls within that model, the measured converts to proven, and the indicated converts to probable. Okay.
Very interesting.
So I know we're not doing this visually, so it's
Right.
If we were doing it visually, I could draw some things, but I'm explaining it to you verbally. So the inferred never goes into a mining model. It just hangs there, and it's something that later on, with more drilling, you can potentially move it into the indicated or measured category over time.
Mhm.
Okay. yeah.
Understood.
It's
No,
the
I-
hardest one to get.
Right.
So in our case, what we've done is we've done a resource model. We've wrapped a $1,500 gold price pit shell around the resource model, and we come up with 5 million ounces.
Mm.
The reason we put that into a pit shell is we want to show there is likelihood that at $1,500, that material can be mined,
Okay.
right?
Okay. And
But-
now with gold sitting at 1800, it's
Yes.
even
However,
better.
guys, our proven and probable is 1.8 million ounces, which is a small subset. And why is that? Because we used, the economics within our pit generator to be 12.25 a dollar, right? The reason we did that was we did this study back before the gold price started running.
Right. Wow.
And that's fine. And we're happy with that because the project we're going to start, which has got a 16-year mine life, has a break even of about $1,200 gold,
Wow.
right?
Okay.
So if gold stays where it is or goes higher, as some people are assuming, we're just going to be printing money.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, we've had Alex. We've had a lot of people. We've spoken with a lot of gold people and had people on the show, obviously, and people actually who believe in actually Jordan, who actually believes highly in your project, and they are very bullish on this whole thing. Come in the coming, either months or years. So you're in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a mining engineer, so I'm not going to predict the gold price.
Of course.
I think what I got to do is I've got to make my project bulletproof enough that irrespective of what happens to the gold price, we're not going to go out of business.
Yeah.
So today I can put my hand on my heart and say we've got a 16-year project there that will be bulletproof down to $1,200 gold.
That's what I was going to say. Actually, actually my question for you is like, that's kind of like that kind of target price for you is over the 16-year period as you're pricing it out at $1,200.
From an economic standpoint, and to be making money,
Mm-hmm.
it's $1,200. Now, if the gold price is $1,800 or $2,500 or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
we are just going to be printing money.
Yeah. And I want to make this point to anybody listening. And Steve, I mean, just from everything that we've learned over the months, over the year, inflation, whatever you want to, however you want to measure it, that sounds like an amazing price to me. I just want to point that out to you, Alex. And we've actually already invested in your company. So there you go.
Yeah. And I want to brag a little bit because the bigger guys, the bigger companies like Barrick, Newmont, Agnico Eagle, etc. If you look at the way they do their reserve estimates, which is the proven and probable, they are most of them are using about $1,200 gold price even today. And the reason they do that is for conservatism. They want to make sure that their business is real. It's not just based on a high, on a hype, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's good to be in that same neighborhood with those guys as a small company saying, yeah, we've got a project that's bulletproof down to $1,200.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I like it.
Now your starter project, you're going to move 20,000 tons per day, and
Yes.
at that rate, it'll last 16 years. And
Yes.
you're forecasting 100,000 ounces of gold a year. Is that correct?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. And the reason we're starting at 20,000 tons a day is to speed up the starter aspect of the project. We're working in Chile. Chile's a first world country as far as mining comes. It's
Perfect.
a mining country. It's the
I didn't
biggest.
know that. I didn't actually. I thought it would be like in
Third world.
But yeah, second. I was just gonna be.
Well,
nice and say second.
the statistic is Chile is the largest copper producer in the world. Copper,
Oh,
right?
okay.
It's not a big gold producer. Typically, gold is a byproduct of copper production, but it is the largest copper producer in the world. So it is a mining country. There are copper mines all through the place. There are some smaller gold mines as well. There are lithium mines. There are iron ore mines. It's a mining country.
Wow.
Okay.
And from a Latin American perspective, it is probably, it's definitely number one mining country in Latin America.
Interesting.
So-
I personally didn't know that. I thought it was actually like Chile.
Well, I'm glad I told you that because
Well, hey,
it's very-
hey, we're the University of Alex right now, so it's all
Yes,
good. So no, I love it. I love it. This is amazing.
But the other thing that's a challenge in Chile is water, and we are located in the Atacama Desert, right? Even our project is in the Atacama region of Chile, which is sort of in the northern part of Chile, not right at the top near Peru, but sort of in the northern half of Chile. And it's a very arid place. And if you ever look, I welcome people to look at videos on our website of drone footage of our project.
Very
It
cool.
looks like-
you've got a video even of the route that you got to take
Well, let's,
to get there.
Steve,
And yeah.
let's the people know where can they go to find that
Oh,
video?
Rio2.com.
Rio2.com.
Romeo India Oscar number 2.com.
Okay.
Yeah, very simple. And you can see some great videos here, but it looks like Mars. It looks like those photos we just saw recently of the Mars rover or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing there.
Wow.
And our project's located at 4,500 meters above sea level.
Only.
So that's even
12,000, 13,000 feet, something like that.
yeah. I don't know the conversion.
Yeah, Dave, we're the different metric system.
Yeah.
We're the only country in the world.
It's high.
Yeah.
It's probably 14,000 feet or something like that. But anyway.
Okay.
So, but water is a challenge in Chile. A lot of the water now is being done through desal projects, desalination of seawater. Chile is a very long, narrow strip of a country that runs along the east coast of the Pacific Ocean. So it's got access to the coast. I mean, we're probably located 200 kilometers from the coast, so not far.
Yeah.
But there is subsurface water. You can pull water from the subsurface, but it's a very long process to get approvals to do that.
Right.
we
You
were
have
looking-
riparian rights and all that, and
Yeah, you have to apply for water rights. You have to get them permitted, and that can take anywhere up to 5 years. And when we bought this project, it had no water rights, right? It had nothing. So we looked at ourselves and said, shit, I mean, what are we going to do? Because we don't want to build this project in 5 years. We want to build it like now.
yeah,
Get into
Yeah.
yesterday.
yesterday.
Yeah.
So one of the guys, we were sitting around a table in our office in Lima. This is before COVID, when we could sit around tables. Anyway, somebody said, why don't we truck the water from Copiapó, which is the nearest regional center, about 140 kilometers from the project.
Okay.
So why don't we truck the water? And we all looked at each other and said, shit, that would work. And so what we had through the previous company is we had an agreement with a water retreatment facility that provides water to the population of Copiapó, but takes back all the sewage and retreats the sewage.
Call it gray water.
Yeah, grey water, good terminology.
Yeah.
Grey water or industrial water.
It's not clear. It's great.
It's not quite clear. It's opaque.
No. But you know what? It's good for leaching.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Gold leaching.
Got some
So-
microbials in there.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't impact the gold process. So
Yeah.
basically, the previous company had a soft agreement with those guys to buy water, to buy grey water from them. And we decided, why don't we do that and put it in trucks, in tanker trucks, and take it up to the project. Now, for 20,000 tons a day of throughput of ore to the pad, as you correctly picked out, we're going to need 2,100 tons of water a day. And that equates to a fleet of about 25, 30 ton tanker trucks, just like the fuel trucks you see on the road.
Yeah.
That we're gonna put on the road and take up there. And we're on a fantastic road that goes between Copiapó, the town where we're going to buy the water, to Argentina. We're on the main road, so we don't have to worry about hauling.
There's no devil's turns or anything like that.
No, and
It's not bandits waiting along the route.
Yeah, straight shot.
in a car. Listen to this. So Copiapó is at 500 meters above sea level. Our project's at 4.5 to 4,900 meters above sea level. Right? It varies because it's the top. Our project is actually an extinct volcano.
Oh, cool.
Wow, that's cool in itself. Hey, well, maybe we can do tourist runs or something to get some more money.
Well, there's not much smoke to see or any lava or anything.
It's okay. They're just happy to be there.
Yeah.
I've done many of these trips.
But to drive 140 kilometers from 500 meters above sea level to 4,500, it takes only 2 hours in a four-wheel drive.
Wow, that's
So-
not long compared. I mean, I'm just saying that's dreamy.
And the reason why is because you don't have any hairpin bends. You go straight up a valley. It's like a mountain valley. That's where they place the road. And you just go up in virtually a straight line until you get to the project.
This sounds much better than my trip from Bucaramanga, Colombia to Cartagena in a bus.
Chicken bus.
You're exactly right, Daniel. You hit it on the head. You know, when we drove from Trujillo to our project La Reina, which was 140 kilometers as well in Peru, it took, before the road was improved, it took like 5 or 6 hours.
Right.
And it was all these bendy roads, and
that's what slows you down. Yep.
Exactly what you were talking about in Bucaramanga in Colombia.
Yeah.
So
and it's the same. And it's the same reason, Alex, that when you go to buy your bus ticket, that they have to post how many people have died along the trip.
Always a comforting thought before you climb on.
Well, as you know, down here in Latin America, as you're driving down these roads, you're seeing all these crosses on the side of the road. And when I first came to the country, I said to people, and I'd say, what's all this? There's a cross every 100 meters. That's where somebody went over the edge.
Yeah. And here's the difference. And I don't want to get sidetracked because we're really into this right now, but I just want to make a quick side note. Here in America, when that happens, we put like metal benders and everything in there. And then in Latin America, we're just like, you're too stupid. So you just fill up the edge.
Yeah, don't do it again.
Yeah,
exactly.
like let the cross let you know to just slow down or something.
Yeah, take your foot off the pedal. Yeah.
So sorry, go ahead, Alex. I apologize.
No. So we're going to truck the water from Copiapó to the project. We've taken about 3 to 5 years off the time frame of the development of the project by doing that. We've had a lot of people ask us, but isn't that odd to do that? Well, it's not typical, but it's been done before, and it's not a problem. We've got a great road, and we've had no pushback locally about doing that. So that's something that people should know.
Sounds like you have all the green lights for everything to be profitable in the near future. Everything seems to be working for you as opposed to against you. Water, the way you're mining it, your experience, just everything all together, it seems like a really good formula / recipe for success to a lot of listeners out there.
Yeah, well, that's what it's all about. And the mining game is not easy. There's always twists and turns and bumps. It just depends on how good you are at managing those twists and turns and bumps, and making sure they're not catastrophic to the business. And really, as you just said, we don't have any red flags up, and we have a very simple project. I love simple projects, right?
Yeah, fewer things can go wrong.
This is a simple project. As I said, the only thing we don't have right now is the finance to build it, but we're in the process of financing now. Once we take down that financing, then we're on our way, right? And as I was saying before as well, first gold by the end of next year.
Love it.
Nice.
Love it.
What are you doing for financing? Selling shares?
No, we're looking at lots of different ways. I mean, typically in the gold business, there's senior secured debt, which means you can go to a bank and borrow the money. There's streams and royalties. There are streaming and royalty companies that will give you the money in exchange for some gold as you mine it.
Yeah.
And thirdly, there's equity, right, which means you go and raise the money in the market.
Okay.
We don't want to raise too much equity because we're gready and we're big shareholders of our company, so we don't want to.
You don't want to dilute your shares.
Exactly.
So, just to make a quick note on the royalty, though, because Steve, just a lot of people don't know about royalty companies. Maybe we can just touch on it real quick. Those are for companies that basically take a piece of the action, basically, right, Steve?
Yeah, basically they say, okay, I'll take 3% to a percentage, let's say 3%, 5%, whatever it is, of your gold production. In exchange for now, I'll give you $50 million or $100 million.
Right.
Okay.
And these are companies that are, royalty companies are companies that are publicly traded as well.
Yeah,
there's private and there's a lot of publicly traded ones. Yeah,
I saw Franco-Nevada somewhere. Are they invested?
They're probably the biggest and most well-known royalty company in the space.
Yeah, and they have basically what, Steve? What do they have? 26 employees?
So yeah,
yeah, that's the thing, and it's a great model because your G&A or your overhead is very, very low.
Exactly.
Because you don't take on the mining risk. It's us that takes on the mining risk, and they just sit back and shave off
they take 3 ounces of every 100 that you pull out.
We'll just let Alex do all the work, and we're just gonna kick it.
I'm gonna keep playing solitaire.
But Steve, we were talking about cojones earlier on. They have small cojones. We got the
big ones.
They're playing. Okay, as we were talking, Alex, just on a side note, I did a 30-day challenge. Steve challenged me, to take a cold shower for 30 days. So I've been taking a cold shower, and he's like, "Yo, the cojones," and I'm like, "Yo." People are playing Where's Waldo, and I'm like, where did my balls go during the cold shower? So just let you know, I got some small cojones right now.
You're gonna have to get a magnifying glass to pull them out with tweezers, mate.
Well, you're gonna have to go between my spleen and my liver.
Are you? I saw Eric Sprott and Van Eck. Are they invested?
Yes. So our largest individual shareholder is Eric Sprott.
Okay.
He owns about 14% of the company on an undiluted basis, and just around 19% of the company on a fully diluted basis. And he came into the company back in 2019 on a financing that we did back then. Van Eck, which is a famous gold ETF, famous ETF funds, but gold in particular.
Yeah.
They have active funds not related to the ETF, because obviously we're not eligible for the ETF yet because we're not a producer. But a couple of their active funds own us, and that accounts for about 6 or 7% of our company.
Okay, so about 20% between the two.
Yes, and management have got about, I think, 17%, or I can't remember the number we've got. but amongst ourselves. So, we're all incentivized. We've all got skin in the game. And that's what people want to see is, be invested in companies where management have got skin in the game and have got as much to lose as everybody else.
Yes, yeah, and that you got some big players in the game that see potential and they're backing you.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. What's your percentage do you own? You got
I own 7 or 8%, I think.
15 million shares. Is that about right?
Yeah, 7 or 8%, because we've got about nearly right now just under 200 million shares on issue. So I own 15 million. So it's about just about 7 or 8% or something.
That's a really important fact, though. I just want to let listeners and people out there know, when you got people are working for the company and own the company, it's like you got the CEO and they got skin in the game. It's like they have a vested interest in making.
The other thing you need to look for, and this is advice to your investors, even if management have got skin in the game, one good thing is to check how much did they pay for that skin. And in some cases, guys get like 1 cent shares, and they get a bunch of shares, but they all get them at 1 cent, and they've paid virtually nothing for it. Just for the record, I've invested $2.5 million Canadian in this company in buying my shares. So yes, I did get some cheap shares, but I've put some sweat into it, and it's $2.5 million.
No, thank you for sharing that, Alex. Because I didn't realize that. I'm like, well, as long as they have skin in the game, well, that just
they weren't given. As long as they're not given to you, that's very important.
Like
what other tips do you have like that for Daniel and I and our listeners to find more guys like you?
It's tough. The problem with the junior resource sector is there's just too many companies.
Yeah.
And if we look at the gold side, once again, there's just too many companies, and it all comes down to management. Right? Whatever you invest in, okay, the asset's got to be good, but you've got to be able to back management. And it's impossible. Every presentation you hear a company present, they'll always say, we've got an excellent management team with all this experience. In most cases, that's bullshit, right? And so you really need to do your due diligence. You need to take time, analyze who are the people behind the company, what have they done before, how much money have they made before for shareholders in other deals, etc. And so it takes a bit of time to do that. But there's other sources. I mean, listening to programs like this, there are other social media and media outlets that present mining companies, and also Twitter is a great place. I'm on Twitter. And one of the things I do is I invite people to ask me questions. So, if somebody invests in my company, I don't know who they are, but they'll say to me, so Alex, what about this and what about that? And I'll give my opinion, right? And in Twitter, you can do opinions publicly or you can do it privately because there is a private messaging system.
But the point is you're accessible.
I'm always accessible. And I'm going to tell that to the people now. My email address.
Yeah, let's get that out. Let's get that out there. Let's get Alex's email address.
My email address is alex.black@rio2.com.
Yeah, and he's. I emailed you and you called me in about 30 seconds. I was a little put
No,
off.
because
I was like, I was actually. He told me that you emailed him in that amount of time, and I was like, wow, man, this guy's really on top of his game. I love this stuff. Like, I was excited that Steve was excited that you just answered him.
well,
so fast.
Well, I didn't know Steve, and I got his email, and I just thought, well, if I put this aside right now, and I wasn't super busy, so if I'm super busy, I might not do that. But But I just said to myself, if I put it aside, I might forget it. So I'm going to answer straight away, and that's the way I am. So, but I answer a lot of questions by email. I get on the phone with people because some people just want to talk to me. They want to know I'm a real person, etc. So that's all part of it. If management's not accessible to you either, if you're making an investment, and I don't care if you're I mean, I'm the CEO of the company, and I'll talk to people. Now, I don't know if obviously Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos probably don't do that, but
probably not.
no. But even if you get to smaller companies, sometimes, you know, CEOs just feel, oh no, that's for my IR people to deal with, you know, my investor relations people.
Right.
Well, in my case, you know, we do all our investor relations internally. We don't go to a third party, and you know, the buck stops with me. So really, at the end of the day, I'm happy to answer any questions that people give.
Yeah, no, but Alex, I think there's a lot of people, with their thinking precious metals right now. You know, a lot of people right now are thinking inflation, especially here in the U.S. is, we're going up. You know, a lot. We got to. I mean, we're going to coin, shops, and I just bought some Krugerrands today. I had Steve buying. I pimped Steve out, by the way.
It was near my house, so I got it for him.
Steve was it was in his city and not mine. I'm like, yo, Steve,
I got some silver today. What's some quick synopsis on, like, we're recommending as far as 1 ounce gold, Eagles, Maple Leafs, and Krugerrands, and then for silver, 100 ounce, get Johnson Matthey, Engelhard, and then like 1 ounce rounds, and in silver, and then like 10 ounce ones if like the Canadian Royal Mint. Does that all sound good to you? Or
yeah, look, I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert at this, and so I'll tell you what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. But no, look, there's a lot of products out there, and I just don't know, and I don't go into that space.
You just want to find it.
You're like, yo, I just want to find it.
I just want to find it.
I want to give it
to
you. You make some money.
It's interesting, me personally as a person, and I'm because of my age, I'm not into Bitcoin or anything like that because I don't understand that shit.
Yeah,
but,
understandable. I get it. Now we're in the same boat. We get it.
Yeah, I don't understand any of that coin stuff. But I'm invested at my age. I'm 63. I'm invested in real estate. I'm invested in cash, and I'm invested in Rio too.
Well, that's well, Alex, let's just get some like we just want to hear your perspective. Talking to the younger Alex, like whatever it is, like what do you like? I mean, what do you like to do? Like you said you're invested in real estate.
Well, the thing is, when you're a young Alex, you can take risks.
Yeah.
Right? When you're the older, so you'd be in Bitcoin, you'd be in everything, right?
Right.
You'd be in the stock market in general because it's never going to go down, right? Bullshit. But anyway. So you can take risks when you're young, Alex, but when you're older, Alex, you sort of go, I've seen this all before, and I'm just going to be a bystander and just get into the solid stuff and the real assets. So, and that's why gold's going to do well and silver's going to do well.
You said silver, Alex. Like, when you say silver, like, what's your take on it? I mean,
I don't think much of silver. I'm not a big silver guy, and the reason for that is that silver to me just follows gold.
Exactly. We say that to people all the time as well. Like silver follows gold. It's like the redheaded stepchild of gold.
And you know what? There's not too many pure silver mines anywhere in the world as opposed to gold mines. So what silver is a byproduct of base metal mining. Lead, zinc, copper mining. You usually get silver as a byproduct. So because of that, I'm not a big follower of it. The other thing too is I think about people and they go, I've bought all these silver bars, and you see these photos on social media of all these, piles of silver bars, and it's like, well, shit, why did you do that? Why don't you just buy 2 gold bars?
Because you couldn't afford the 2 gold ones, so you bought all the silver.
No, yes, you could, because
it would just be 170 of the amount.
Okay, maybe 1 gold bar, but I just don't. I just can't see
the logic. You don't see the logic.
No, but that's me personally, and I know a lot of people are silver, silver believers, and
Mhm.
hey, all power to you. You know.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
yeah.
But silver's
this-
going to track gold. Silver's going to track gold.
It's like
Okay.
yeah, silver is for the people who can't afford gold, Steve.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
But
say that.
yeah, I don't know, of course. We will for you. It's okay. It's good.
Right
But
on.
Alex, just wanted to say, is there just out of curiosity, pure curiosity, do you have you ever been like interested? Because we don't really know a whole lot about any of this, like like palladium, was it cadmium, or like any of these other kind of metals that a lot of other people don't have much of or don't know about. Would you have any other beliefs in any other precious metals?
Yeah, once again, I think, although I don't know a lot about the platinum group metals, palladium, platinum, and all those sort of,
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about it, but, a lot of them are used in some of this EV technology. So, as long as EVs and also exhaust technology involves, some platinum group metals, catalytic converters, and all that sort of stuff. So I don't know, but I just see gold as being a currency, right?
Right.
I don't see silver as a currency. This is me personally.
Yeah.
I see gold as a currency. So
the oldest
with
currency.
sorry, say it again.
Oh, I said the oldest currency.
The oldest currency, and it's going to be there, for many, many, many more hundreds and thousands of years past
Yes,
where we are
long
today.
after we're gone.
Yeah.
But it's all about what's going on in the world. Gold has done well, comes back a couple of $100 and everybody wants to slash their wrists because they say, well, it's all over for gold. Well, it's not. What gold fluctuates with currencies. The US dollar has a bit of a run up, the gold price goes down. I mean, they seem to be opposite to each other. Sometimes they
Inversely
run
related.
Yeah, inversely relationship. They're not symbiotic.
no, but sometimes they run parallel. I mean,
Mhm.
they do that from time to time. It depends on the economic circumstances. But with we're going to go through a bit of volatility in the gold price because of the COVID recovery.
Mm-hmm.
But the COVID recovery is going to be a short thing,
Right.
because after the COVID recovery comes the fiscal reality. Right.
I like that. That's a very good verbiage, by the way.
Yeah.
No, well, that's what's behind all this is the fiscal reality of what's been going on, not only with COVID and all the stimulus that's been going on, but also the way that the stock market has been growing on the back of not a lot, et cetera, et cetera. So, at some point, gold is going to be okay. I don't know if it's going to go to $2,000 or $5,000 or $10,000. I've got no idea, but I don't think it's going back to $1,000. That's for sure. Anytime soon.
Yeah.
No.
I think we're all in agreement on that, and everybody that we've talked to had on the show that's probably not the case.
Yeah. Right on. Well, thank you, Alex. This has been awesome. So
Yeah.
listeners can check out your website, rio2.com. He's got a bunch of neat videos on there of future animations of the mining camp and all the drill test sites, and you can see where the concentration of the heaviest gold is and all that. Is very, very cool interactive map. And thank you for coming on the show, Alex.
And you can also see me in a couple of interviews, so you can see what I look like, how ugly I look like.
Yeah. Well, let's let everybody know where they can see that at. So, is that on how can they get in touch or see
Rio2.com.
There's Rio2, and then so there's a
So on Rio2.com, what we do is most of my interviews that I do, particularly at conferences and a couple of other media outlets, we post on the website. So
perfect.
People can just go to the website and they can see me there.
Perfect.
Right
Perfect.
on.
And I
Awesome.
love the fact that he's Alex is a very, very accessible person. And I just haven't really seen the transparency with someone having a mind.
Yeah. This is cool.
Yeah.
Well,
So thank you for letting us lick our
and
stickers.
thank you, Daniel and Steve. Thank you, Daniel and Steve. And hopefully you've learned a little bit.
No, we've
Well,
learned,
we've
a,
learned
lot.
a lot, yeah.
We learned a
Learned a
lot.
lot.
We learned a lot, Alex. And honestly, with all my heart, I just want to say I hope that maybe I mean, I know you'll get something out of this with our listeners and investing and all that, and that's great. But we would love to have you back on the show at some point so we can lick some more stickers.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, maybe
yeah.
like a rolling 6-month progression report each time. It'd be pretty
Yeah.
cool.
That sticker licking is very important because there's a lot of the other thing about this business is a lot of people that talk about stuff and never ever deliver, right?
Yeah.
What I like to be able to do is, like you say, maybe in 6 months or whenever the period is, we come back and say, remember I said this? Well, look what we've done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got the
And so-
trucks.
Wow,
Yeah.
we got the trucks. We're doing it. We're
Yeah.
going. We're like, and then we can tell you, Alex, that like we've upgraded our helmets.
Yeah. I got a nicer lunchbox now.
Yeah, my lunchbox is looking amazing.
Yeah, no, you guys sound like you have a lot of fun. How does anybody like me tune in to you? I mean, I was trying to find you guys. How do I find you?
SteveBartonMoney.com.
Yeah, in it to win it. We have everything from we're very financially with stock options, stocks, real estate. I mean, we're pretty involved in a lot of that. And then but we go off course as well, Steve, don't we?
Yeah. Lately, our kick has been gold. This has been a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun with gold. But we had a shaman.
Oh
we had a
yeah,
shaman on the show.
the ayahuasca shaman. Yeah, that was.
But yeah,
Yeah, that was. It was
Wow.
fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Was
yeah.
he
We
from
actually,
Peru?
he was trained in Peru.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's big over here. I mean, I've never been in it, but in the jungle, it's a lot of people come they used to come before COVID to get into it.
Yeah. So
Yeah, if
we
you
just
do it. Bring a bucket.
yeah.
Just
Some
saying.
people some people don't walk away either. They get carried away because they end up dying because they
God.
Oh,
yeah.
they OD on it. I've seen a couple of
No.
programs about that. But
Yeah, I think that's more of
Just take half a shot. Just half.
Yeah.
A shot. You don't.
Yeah,
You don't
the-
need 3 shots.
Yeah.
Don't beat the
no,
high
I
school
think
kid
if
getting drunk.
you I mean, there's probably an underlying medical condition, but if you've got a weak heart or something like that, and you go and do
Of
all that
course.
Yeah.
Of course. No, I think for most people, Alex, I think it's how we actually categorized it. It's an amazing life coach for a lot of people. And I don't know, we believe in, the process of that. But I think that, you're always going to have that one out of a, it's kind of like a vaccine, I guess, right? You're going to get a blood clot from Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah, there's I think the benefit outweighs the risk for 99.999% of the people out there for that. But we like to as long as we can inform listeners and just help people in a genuine way, help them either make money or learn or that's just what we're about.
Yeah, no, and happy to help. And
I want to do the we can do the 6-month program, and like we want to know where you're at, and I think that would be awesome if you could give us an update and we could bring you on, and that would be like freaking awesome.
Love to do it.
Well, thank you, Alex. Thank you again, and thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Here is your weekly motivational speech.
For somebody going through tough times, for somebody struggling just to keep your head above water.
So what do you do when everything you trusted in collapses in a storm? How do you prepare for a sudden change in your life? And how do you recover when life hits you on the blind side? And some of you know what that feels like. What do you do after a lifetime of hard work and dedication and commitment and loyalty? How do you change your vocational skills suddenly when they release you from your job? When all your skills that you learned, they don't need anymore? What do you do when the rug is pulled out from under you, as we all know is happening to so many people? How do you face the family you once left behind to go back home because you couldn't pay the rent and that mortgage and you have to go live with your parents again?
Right now, you're at the worst place in your life that you've ever been. I believe that this is your beginning, but this doesn't have to be your end. that just because you are currently here, this is your present circumstances, that life don't have to end for you right now.
You know, when you find yourself standing in the middle of trial, tribulation, scarcity, and uncertainty, there is a process from flapping to flight. How you process pain will determine your future. I need you to fight for the future.
Sometimes life is so hard. We feel we just can't find the strength to keep going. Well, I'm telling you to keep going, to show some character, to build unbreakable character. Sometimes in life you have to fight back. You must be strong, show character, and prevail.
Work on yourself. Work on your focus. You cannot stop. You gotta work. The problem with you is you see difficult as something negative. I want you to see difficult differently. Are you hearing me? I need you to push through that stuff. Push through it. You can't get through it. The more you go through, the more difficult it is, the more challenging it is. Listen to me, the harder it is. Are you hearing me? The more challenging it is. All you're doing, baby, is building muscles.